Hello everyone, welcome to Genosis X community, and it's another fun day, and we have an amazing speaker with us, Mr. Harsh Kapadia. So yeah, Harsh, you can go about your introduction. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Harsh. I am the organizer of our tech community. I am just into the web and I love computer networking. Git is my jam. And yeah, I'm currently doing Master of Science at Boston University. And yeah, it's been a fun experience with communities for the past, I think, 3 to 4 years. And I've had loads of experiences. So yeah, whatever is being said today is just a part of like whatever I have experienced, so it's not a fact or anything that is perfect. It has just been my experience, so take it as it is and form your own opinions on whatever I say. But yeah, just know that it's nothing, it's just my experience that I am giving out. It's not going to be, they're not facts. So yeah, I just wanted to give that disclaimer before we start, I guess.
Yeah. Harsh, we are glad to have you, and I think we can go about our session. So, why
Mhm.
dive into communities, right? Many people would have thought, why dive in communities? So, I would like to have an opinion of yours. Like, why do you think we should get into communities?
Yeah, so essentially, communities aid you to grow, right? Um, and they aid you to collectively grow. That's something that's really nice because um, so you get to meet people from different fields, like in your like different subfields in tech, right? So you widen your exposure, you form connections with people you would not have met. And by connections, I don't mean networking. I just mean you keep meeting them at different meetups, and that's how you um, like make friends, and that's how you get to know different people. And that really helps out because whenever if you're facing an issue or something, you can always reach out to someone who you know is good at a particular field, right? And you can get their advice. So you get to meet a lot of people. You get to learn a lot, obviously, at all meetups and these things that are always talks. So we always get to learn from speakers. We get to meet those speakers. Their talk is always about something that can help us out, right? So there are a bunch of things that you can learn from communities. So yeah, it's a very good place to be. And obviously it's not a judgmental area, it's a safe space. So you're free to ask the quote unquote stupid questions that everyone calls them. And you'll get a good reply to that, and that might spawn off an entire conversation with other members of the community pitching in. So it can just be a great learning experience, and that is what it has been for me as well. So yeah, communities has been a major reason as to why I have been able to progress, because I have met so many people who are so much more knowledgeable than me about so many things, and picking their brain um, has really helped me out, and it has taught me a lot of things as well. So yeah, definitely, if in communities, I would really if you don't know about communities, I would really recommend joining communities, but for the right reasons. There are a lot of um, weird things happening as well. So join for the right reason, join to learn, join to have fun talking to people, right? We'll talk about the other weird things later, but yeah, join in for the pure reasons is what I would say, because that is what has helped me out the most. So yeah, the pure connections and a pure attitude towards anything shows. You can understand who's being genuine, you can understand who's being um, like who's doing something for a particular reason, right? um, so yeah, just be genuine and pure, I guess. That's what I have been trying to follow, at least. So yeah.
Yeah, well said, Harsh. We'll be discussing on those things later too. So, as you know, people, uh, if people don't know, I would like to share that Harsh was organizer of hackathons in TSEC for continuously 3 years, and he has also built a community. He's an organizer at Our Tech Community, and he has been a major reason in building a community culture in Thadomal Shahani College too. So, what would you like to talk about that and share how you were able to build that community and support everything?
Sure. So essentially, there was never supposed to be anything, and there was never an intention to do build a community or anything like that. Right? It just happened. How did it happen? It just happened um, out of wanting more tech conversations. So essentially, how OTC started or how things started was that I we had a common group with with juniors and stuff, and there were good tech conversations, but also a lot of conversations that were um, a lot of spammy random conversations. I just wanted to create a separate group which had people who wanted to talk about tech. That's it, and that's how it stayed for quite a few months, just adding in people who were talking about tech and wanting to avoid the spam. And then one fine day we opened it to everyone, like I opened the group to anyone and everyone who wanted to join. And again, then after a few months I was like, this group is a random group, let's just give it a name. I didn't even know like about communities then. And so I just gave it, I just thought for 30 seconds whatever came to my mind, I just put that name. That's how the name Our Tech Community started. There is no particular reason behind it. And that's how it started. That's how OTC started. um, so and since then it's that has been like a major thing in our decisions, right? We want to keep it natural for as long as possible. So we've made so many decisions that have uh, that have stayed away from like, oh, will this give us growth, is this marketing, is this like should we publicize more and things like that. We've really not thought about that. We've always wanted to keep it organic, natural. And I understand that that's maybe not for some company or something, but this is more like by the people for the people, that kind of thing, without any company. So we don't want to like be the biggest community out there or like have something like that. We just want to keep it pure for as long as possible. That is the goal. Try to avoid unnecessary stuff, right? Like swag and all that. So that's one thing that we have been trying to consistently maintain. That has been um, to avoid all the politics or marketing stuff or all that, and just focus on the tech part of it and the people part of it.
Yeah, and one thing I would like to also ask is like, as you have organized three hackathons, TSEC hack especially, that happens in the March of the year, mostly mid March. So I have been into one of those hackathons and have seen the culture there. The organization was well defined and well structured. So how are you able to come up with that? Especially, I've also seen you have been able to connect with different community people like Aditya Oberoi, right, and other peoples too. So how did that all happen? How
Sure.
it
So
was possible?
again, none of it was planned. In the sense, the hackathons were planned, obviously, but none of the Aditya Obrai stuff or any of the other stuff was planned. Also, it looks very rosy on the outside, but there are loads of troubles when you organize any event. Not everyone is the same. You need to learn to work with people and stuff. So there were loads of learnings that way as well. So it might look perfect on the outside, but nothing can ever be perfect, right? So there were issues, right? Always going to be issues. So yeah, again, TSEC hacks has been something that again has changed how I do things, because I just started into hackathons like without knowing what they were and stuff, and organizing them just and participating in them was just an eye-opening experience. It's like it's still the one of the best places that I have been to. Like just yesterday, there was a hackathon here, and I went to that as well. It's been like 2-3 hackathons here as well in Boston that I've gone to. So that's been really nice. Hackathons have become spaces that I really enjoy, and especially organizing, mentoring. Even participating is a lot of fun, because these are essentially judgmental free environment. uh, People don't judge you, I guess. So that's something that I really appreciate about hackathons. And when it comes to organizing a hackathon, there is a lot of planning, lot of logistics going on. And it's essentially you have to keep track, always trying. You're always trying to think, oh, what am I missing, what am I missing, what am I missing. And after some time you're like, oh yeah, I missed that. So there is never a time when you're thinking that everything is fine. Okay, I've thought of everything. So it's a crazy thing. When it comes to Aditya Obrai and any of the other speakers and mentors, amazing mentors that we had, it has all been through approaching them, and it has all been through just, I guess, I mean, it has only been through approaching people, right? And how so one thing that I was avoiding to say here was like, it's because I also have, like, some people know me, that kind of thing. So and but the point here is not about oh, he's famous or something like that, right? That was never a point. That is still not valid. I am not famous. I don't want to be. um, but the point is that I was doing community stuff for years before that. So like, before the last TSEC hacks happened, I had been doing community stuff for 2 years and stuff. Again, community stuff is a little artificial, but yeah. So that's how, like, Aditya knew me from the messages on Twitter and stuff like that, OTC's message and this that. So whenever we had approached him, he was like, okay, I think it's a good thing, and he just took a he was like, okay, it seems like a good thing, and he just flew in from Dehradun to TSEC to attend that, and that happened. So it was essentially because our hackathon has a reputation. TCX had a reputation, and he also had seen me on Twitter and stuff like that. So yeah, and it was more based on the fact that he agreed with my principles rather than and mine and the hackathon's principles, rather than it being more of a flashy event, right? So stuff like that. So yeah, it and Aditya has become a good friend since then.
Yeah,
He's been someone who's advised me a lot, and that's really nice about him. So yeah, essentially, so these kinds of conversations happen when when everyone like both the people in the conversation realize that, hey, the other person is trying to be genuine and trying to help and trying to be honest about things, and that's how it sets up a more honest conversation between each other. So I think that's something that is so very important, today, wherein I hear, or a lot of people say, oh, you should network, oh, you should like, networking is so important. And I'm like, yes, but that's a network. Like, building a network and all those things are a byproduct of things. You talk to people, you have fun interacting with them, and that's what leads to that network building on the side. That's how people know you. But the intention to talk to someone is, no, I should talk to this person because they'll remember me, right? That's not the intention to talk to someone. The intention to approach someone is, hey, what do you do? And then when they say what they do, you show your curiosity on about um, what they are doing, how are they doing something, how is something happening. So you just try to quench your curiosity, and you try to understand why they're interested in something, what is exciting them, and just have a natural conversation with them on that. Forget about any of wanting to connect with them on LinkedIn, Twitter, or wanting them to remember you. All that will happen naturally. That will happen naturally. Trust me, it has happened so many times with me. um, it happens naturally when people see you interacting with them like on a genuine note. They really appreciate that, because a lot of times it's more about, oh, you are someone quote unquote big in the communities, or big in a company or something. That's why I want to talk to you, right? I want an internship from you. So it's not always about that. It's important to know that I know communities are places to get internships and jobs as well. That's totally fair, but it's not always about that. So try to keep it pure as much as possible, right? So that is just what I would say, and what I have followed for years, and that is something that has been really beneficial to me personally. So yeah, just trying to keep away from the politics, the marketing, and the unnatural artificial things. That is what I have been trying to do as much as I can. So yeah, and one thing to remember in politics and this, that it's not tit for tat. If, like, someone is needling you, you don't need to needle them back. So that has also been something that I've been trying to do. So obviously nothing, no, not perfect here, but I've just been trying to be better and been trying to avoid all that. So yeah, it's just a game of trying, and if you fail, you try to be better. So that's what has been going on. It's a struggle, but trying. It's a struggle. Yeah.
Yeah, rightfully, as you said, there are a lot of things when like people think of communities and they just come for networking or some maybe other things like swags, etc. But the main motive is to build a presence as well as to learn something. Like yeah,
No, no. The motive is not to build a presence. Nope. So that is again, that is
not like that. Yeah,
so essentially the point is to learn and talk to people and have fun talking to people, because you are getting to learn different experiences. So that is the motive. The building presence part of it automatically happens.
yeah,
That is what I don't want people to approach communities with. Oh, I should attend this event because it will, people will see me, that kind of thing. Sure, that is a byproduct of things. That is a byproduct of you attending things, but that is not the goal of attending the event. Attend the event to learn from people, from the talk, right? That is what is the main factor. All the other things happen on their own. That is what I have been trying to sort of follow and also propagate. But yeah, so the, don't build
yeah,
up your presence will build itself, right? Your network will build itself, right? So you have fun talking to people, and um, just like being natural and genuine, be genuine there. So that is what is will have all those byproducts, that artificial byproducts that everyone try wants to try to optimize for. Rather, try to optimize for learning and having fun talking to people as people.
yeah. Especially like many people are like there is diversity whenever you go into a community. People know about different stuff. Maybe you don't know everything that's in the world. You get to learn about new things from your peers. They might help you even in some topics, and that's how knowledge propagates. It's like water. It flows through everywhere in the community, and that's all I would like to say. And before
Yeah.
coming to our next, yeah, before coming to our
So
next segment, I would like to uh, add Rishikesh. So Rishikesh Yadav is from Genosis X community, and he's been uh, like in hackathons, meetups, everywhere, and like uh, totally into communities. So Rishikesh, Harsh. So let's move on to our next segment. It's
sure.
sharing community experiences.
Yep. Hi, Rishikesh.
Yeah. So, as a part of my community experience, I really like to interact with people while having a meetup and like that. The thing while interacting is we get to know about a different perspective about the same thing. Okay, and that's really the great lesson, like the great thing to learn from others by having their perspective. So. Usually, like I used to find the domains which I used to work in, specifically machine learning and data science, and I used to discuss that stuff only. And also I got to know about various other stuff also, like blockchain and all what people are doing, what they are doing, and their experience, their journey. And that's how the people used to get exploration and exposure to the technical world, because it's too vast. And if we get to know, it's like it's endless, I can say. Okay, so it's I think so the community is the best place for the exposure and exploration, and also to get to know about the different perspective. Like you can also get to know about, like if you are working on any project, let's say, you can discuss about that, and you can get to know a best solution for that, or the best technology which can be used according to that. So that's why I loved like being into the community, and that's my community
Yeah,
experience.
just building up on the perspectives point. I think I really, by the way, I really agree with what you say. And just building up on your point with perspectives, I think this is what at least I have learned, is that it's all a game of perspectives, right? So essentially,
Yeah.
any perspective that I mean, even when you have opinions and stuff, everything is built around your perspective, right? How you look at something is defines anything and everything that you do. So essentially, your perspective is something that is very important, right? So something that I just realized out of the blue was that hey, any perspective is a good perspective, is good for you. Why? Because whenever you get multiple perspectives, you can decide. It's always a win-win situation. How? Because if it's a perspective that is new and you agree with it, then great, you can incorporate that into your perspective and be better that way, and so your perspective gets more refined. If it's a perspective that's new but it's something that you don't agree with, great, because then you can incorporate that into your perspective and say, okay, this is something I don't agree with. So again, your perspective is getting more refined. You start to know what you agree with, what you don't agree with, and different things. So your perspective is getting refined again and again. So that is something I realized, that oh yeah, I don't just need to find people who agree with me. I can find people who disagree with me as well, because that is also helping me be better, right? I can decide for myself, okay, this is something I don't agree with. That is why initially in the disclaimer I said it's just what I think of about things. It's not a fact, right? So I'm speaking from my own perspective, right? So essentially, whoever is listening, if anyone is listening, they can sort of take whatever I'm saying and decide for themselves. Hey, do I agree with that? If you do, sure. If you don't, sure. But at least you know what you don't agree with, right? So you're refining your perspective that way. So I think perspectives are really important. And yeah, there's just a tangent. So yeah, sorry for that.
Yeah, the yeah, great. Yeah, and that's what goes with the, like, when you are having a project presentation like that, you are presenting it because you need to tackle the questions which they are going to, and that too will try to find the flaws into that like according to their perspective, and that's what we get to know about more about whatever the thing we are working on, or whatever the journey we are on, like that.
Yeah, one more experience that I had that actually started everything for me was, how did I get to know about, oh, there is something called communities, and oh, you can, they are safe spaces. So I was very lucky because my first community experience was a very, very, very pure one. Why? Because I had gone to, so my first community was DevFest Mumbai 2018. That was like my first community. I didn't even know what communities were. I just went with friends, just some random event, Google, right? Google event. So but I unfortunately got swayed by that, but was for fortunate now, because it aided me to do things. That's where swag is a bit in the gray area. Is a bit in the gray area for me, because it's like swag does help you, like it attracts people, but then, and that can lead them to discover something new. That's why that's the good side of swag, but the bad side is that, oh, everything is then driven by swag. People do everything because of swag, not because they enjoy something. I mean, that might be there as well, but swag becomes a huge motivator, which is not the most pure reason, I think. Um,
Yeah,
and
I
in my
also saw
opinion, it
like,
should be. But yeah, so
yeah.
essentially the point that I was trying to make was that I had a very pure first experience where I just randomly went because of the unfortunate Google tag. Um, to the event, but I went for the event, and I met two people who I credit credit for for starting my entire community journey. They're Preet and Ayushpal, Preet Parekh and Ayushpal. So they essentially were really kind and empathic. I had no, I didn't even know what an API was, but so I remember asking, hey, what's an API? And they were really kind, empathetic, and they really explained it to me, and they were so nice and welcoming. And I felt I did not feel stupid for one time at that event. And they were warm and welcoming, and others just felt very difficult to approach people. So I just realized how important it is to be kind and empathetic in communities, and trying not trying to show that, oh, you have everything sorted, or yeah, right, your life is set, because it's not like everyone is I am struggling right now. I am having so many issues right now in a new environment, right? So it's just trying to be more genuine and trying to understand where everyone is coming from, and not trying to show that one is perfect, or they are not having issues, or if they make a mistake, trying to own up to that mistake, because well, it is a mistake. And trying to not make excuses for a mistake and stuff like that. So I think that is something that is important, and I'm glad I had that experience, which really changed things for me. And then I was like, okay, I these are safe spaces that I want to have an environment such as this, and a pure environment. This is how I once OTC started, and I was like, oh, this is a community. Damn, I didn't even realize. And then I was like, oh, maybe this is a kind of an environment I would love to have. So I just tried to do whatever I got. So essentially, Preet always keeps telling me that, hey, it's you you give what you receive, right? So it's just a thing that you keep rolling. So that's essentially what I've been trying to give whatever I get and whatever I wish I had. So I mean, it sounds very noble and whatever, but it's
Yeah.
really not. Everyone does that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not something very noble or something. Oh, he's very being very
it
nice and
it's like
grand. It's
a
not that way.
environment. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
that environment that I admire or there is so positivity in like air, you can sense that. And you actually uh, people come to you, they ask about your experience, like what you do, and you get to know what they do, and you quite you bond on instantly. Like sometimes you are like, oh, you also use this, I also use this, and then you are into a deep conversation about that, and that's so wholesome. You can give your opinions from their
yeah, and
opinions,
and
their
it's important to
sides.
realize
Yeah.
here, as Rishi, sorry
Yes,
for cutting you
exactly.
off, by the way, but it's important to realize, as Rishikesh mentioned, that it should not always be like, it should not always be that, oh, it's conversing people from your field, like your subfield in tech. It should
Yeah.
be conversing with anyone and asking them. So even if it's like I'm into the web and that kind of stuff, and if I see some AI person, I'm not like, oh, AI person, I can't really hold a conversation. I ask them, hey, what do you do? And then they say, oh, I work on, let's say, for example, NLP, for example. Oh, I work on NLP, and I'm like, oh wow, what do you work on NLP? So it's not like, oh, I work on NLP. Okay, sure, fine. It's like, what do you work on NLP? Then they describe that. I was like, oh, how does that work though? And that's how the conversation goes forward. So that's how you get to. That's what broadens your perspective and helps you sort of be better that way, be a little more general, right? It's not always the um, about specializing or restricting yourself to one particular area. So that's what I discovered after attending quite a few times. Like, huh, why am I restricting people? It's other fields are a lot of fun as well. Just because it's not something I'm very passionate about, that doesn't mean I can't talk to them. It's pretty interesting. So that's how it just happened naturally. So yeah, again I think a common theme across everything has been natural and not intending to
Yeah.
do anything. It was just the intention was to um, go for tech and have fun, learn about tech and talk to people, just to learn from their experiences and what they've been doing. And a byproduct of all of it has been different things. So like whatever artificial stuff you want, network presence, a community. OTC is never supposed to be a thing. So all of these things have just been byproducts of these things. So yeah. Haha, in the US, I've not discovered it enough, but whatever I have been to has been really, again, a safe space, non-judgmental. That was the word I was looking for, a non-judgmental space. So it's been fun. That I've been to 3 hackathons here and 1 or 2 community events. They were nice. They were pretty much like an Indian experience. So it's not like very different or something. It's the same non-judgmental space where you can talk to people and learn from them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and before coming to the next part, one thing I would like to say, like many people actually build themselves, actually prosper through communities. They get opportunity and all success, but
Haha, you
many
said
people
build
don't share the
themselves.
failures. Yeah, many people don't share the failure behind them. They don't instantly skyrocket or something. There are a lot of failures they face,
Oh my
so
god.
that is
I
also as essential.
I cannot relate with you more. Um, so that has essentially, so what you said has essentially been a driving factor for me wanting
Yeah.
to like write about the problems that I had, and essentially wanting to be more honest about things in general. So I have a blog post that I am constantly updating with all the problems that I'm having, all the realizations that I'm having. So just trying to be more public about that and um, trying to put it out there that, hey, it's everyone is struggling, right? Everyone is going through their own shit.
Yes,
So I've just been
exactly.
trying to be more honest about that. It's really a huge struggle. Like just yesterday, I had good, like I had a good day, but it turned really bad at the end. Because of certain issues that I should have managed well but did not. So yeah, it's a struggle. It's every day. It's a trade-off, right? Everything is a trade-off. You try to do something, you miss out on something, and a trade-off is a point that I would like to stress on as well, because especially if something is free, right? It's a free meetup, free event, right? Let's go, free food, let's go, free, right? Anything that is free or paid, anything that you do, anything free, paid, whatever be it, it's always a trade-off. You are paying in some way. Either it's by time, either it's by your personal information, either it's so there are multiple ways in which you are paying, but you are paying. So it is important to remember that everything that you do, free or paid, especially if it's free, it's a trade-off. You are giving something in return, especially if it's free. That is something that someone known as Anil Harwani really brought that um, to our notice, to my notice at least. And I was like, oh, you're so right. That especially if it's free, it's a trade-off. You are giving your time there. You are giving your person a lot of times, because it's free, so it will be a company sponsored thing. So they'll have your email and they start sending you marketing emails, this, that. So you are paying in some way or the other, right? You are getting spam emails, so you have to filter through spam email to find the actual information. And you are increasing your own spam, so you might miss out on good information in your emails. So essentially you are paying in some or the other way, right? So especially if it's free. So that is one thing I remember now. If it's free, you are paying in some way in which you don't want to. So yeah, that's essentially a trade-off, right? So everything is a trade-off. That is one thing that I have learned so much, especially after coming here. It's been crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially that's
Rishikesh,
my problem. The comment that you just displayed, that's my problem as well. I I have I attended every goddamn event there was, and stuff like that. So that is really not what I should have done in hindsight. I should not have attended every event. That's something that I'm struggling with here as well. But yeah, that's just something I need to work out more. Is the time spent on XYZ,
yeah,
right?
this
That,
is what we also realized. Me and Rishikesh used to go to events and events. Like then one day he told me like, should we actually go to everything that's happening? No, right? We should only go to things that actually would matter to us, would be actually helpful to us.
Or more
yes,
relevant like that.
yes, but again, it's a
Yeah,
trade-off, right?
relevancy.
It's a
Yes,
trade-off wherein
exactly.
you are restricting meeting people from random different fields. But again, you can't always have people with meet people with in random fields, right? In other fields, right? So again, it's a trade-off. You have to decide. If you're not going to meetups that are really not in your domain, you're not going to meet different types of people. If you have different types of people, if you only go to certain types of events, you're only going to meet certain types of people. So again, it's a trade-off. Even this is a trade-off. Everything is a trade-off. So it's up to us to realize that and optimize for that. So that's why it's such a mind-boggling thing, right? But yeah, just trying to be understand that and be better, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And talking about effectiveness of any community for individual or organization, one thing I noticed, like whenever you join a community, it might be on the Discord, Slack, or anywhere, you engage in conversation with them. You might find friends who might be willing to help you at all costs. I've seen community people are just crazy with helping. They will also help you at midnight. There's no time limit, and there's so as you told, they're so generous to help. It's great to know such people, and especially opportunity when it comes to community. There are a lot of opportunity you can contribute to them, that we'll be talking about it later. And organization, as you see, most of the organization currently uh, turning towards open source, because they would get more people who are actually willing to contribute to their idea. Like for example, I am a machine learning guy. If I like some organization which is doing machine learning, it's doing something innovative, I would always like to know more about them, try to contribute to their idea and help build their solution or something. It might be technical, non-technical, doesn't matter. It's the contribution you're doing to them. So yeah, and I would also like to know your views on this.
Yeah, I mean, um, so essentially, it's more of a when it comes to organizations, it's a gray area because it's like everyone is trying to push their own agenda, trying to market their. Essentially, it's marketing, it's developer marketing, right? They're trying to push their own product towards on students or whoever's attending the meetup. So that's why whenever there's a sponsor or something, it gets a little different. That's something we have struggled with as well for our in-person events, like the sponsorship and all that. When you get a company in there, it gets a little different, right? So you need to navigate those things. And whenever it's a company sponsored event, like any company who's sponsoring it, it becomes a little weird that way. And they try to market the product to you, which is understandable. They want to do marketing, but again, it sort of again, this is just my view. It's sort of like polluting the space a bit, making it slightly impure. So that's a trade-off that you have to sort of make. So that's just been something that I have been struggling with when it comes to organizations or um, companies who come in to do events and meetups and stuff. Yes, you get to meet people and stuff, but again, you are getting bombarded by that company marketing stuff. So again, and they try to shove buzzwords down your throat. So I think one important thing to realize is to try to identify who's being genuine and who's trying to market something or get you excited about some buzzword, right? That is something that I have sort of become better. I'm not there, obviously, just have through experiencing it multiple times, have been become slightly better at identifying it. So I guess that's very important to realize who's doing it for the community, for the tech, for the fun of it, and doing it to grow it or to market something to you, to sell something to you for their own benefit, right? So it's
Yeah,
important to
again,
realize that
too
distinction.
much marketing is a mess. Yes, like it
Yeah,
should be
it's a
generous marketing, or like if it's
if
really that
marketing
use case
in
for, yeah,
Look, marketing in general is polluting that space, right? That
yes,
pure space. But again, you can't avoid that. You can't have black and white, right?
of
So you have
course.
to decide what is your comfort level with that. And I am not really very comfortable with it. But again, it's understandable why it's done, and you can't like totally avoid it. Even we did it, right? For our in-person event, we had to, but we chose it accordingly, right? Whatever we agreed with and we felt most aligned with, we did that. So that kind of thing. So you have to decide your own level. It's something that I have struggled with, but can't help it, right? So some things you have to do. So there are loads of conversations on those topics as well, because we want to keep it natural. We want to keep it as natural as possible for with OTC, right? That's why it's been a weird path, still figuring it out.
Yeah, that's amazing. And contributing to the communities, as we meet a lot of people, they ask like how to join a community, how to contribute. So I think this is an essential part of communities, that you, of course, you can not just join a community and just okay, I've just joined, and it's you have to contribute in some way or the other. So go about it.
So yeah, essentially there is no compulsion to contribute. Um, but if you're in the community, like as we say, naturally, what comes to all of us is, oh, if we what we get, we give, right? So just trying
Yeah,
to do that is more than enough. There is, and especially what I mostly what I've seen is whenever someone is new to communities, oh, but I don't know stuff. I'm a junior, so how do I know anything? How do I help out? I know nothing. It's more about trying to help, right? Like try to help, see if you can help. If you don't know about the topic, that's totally fine. You don't need to pitch in there, right? There's no compulsion to contribute back. It's more about it being a natural principle thing, than being forced. Oh, because you gained value from here, you have to contribute back here. It's not about that. It's about, hey, if you think you can help someone out and you know about that, go for it. If you Yeah, volunteering essentially. So if you know about it, go for it. If you don't know about it but know someone who knows about it, let them know and try to get them to help, right? And if you don't know anyone, don't if you can't do both, no problem. No one is calling you out, right? And if someone is, that's wrong. So yeah, try to contribute back to communities whatever you
Yeah,
can. If you can't, no
of course.
problem. And one thing that one quote that I really nice quote that I saw and I try to follow is I mean I try to like that's one of the founding principles of OTC, I guess, whatever that is. um, so it's like we rise by lifting others, right, by Robert Ingersoll. So it's something that I have noticed quite a bit, right? So essentially when we like again, this is not the motivation to help, but when you're helping everyone is so it's like a chain reaction, right? So you help someone, someone will get that help, they will help someone else, right? So it's a chain reaction that goes now. So everyone is getting lifted, right? So that's why if we lift others, they lift others, and that comes back, right? So essentially everyone is getting on a higher level, right? So it's all about that collaboration and that trying to not always be competitive and trying to help um, others out as well. And competition has its place, it's a good thing, but again, there's a limit to that. It should not get toxic. So yeah, just trying to encourage that collaboration and trying to follow the principle of we rise by lifting others, just trying to do that.
Yeah, exactly as you have elaborated that stuff. It's like it comes within you, like you want to contribute, and maybe you don't know stuff about what community products are or what they are doing essentially, but you can be, for example, a end user, or you can give them some feedback, or you can just help other people, right? There are a lot of ways.
Exactly.
And yeah, we have a guest here. I think you might know him. uh, Hi, Wilfred.
Hello, 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 hello,
Oh, hi
Harsh. Hi,
Wilfred.
Pratik.
Nice to see you.
Hi, hi, hi.
Hi.
Yeah. A little late to the party, but glad to be finally joining.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. I've been in the audience and
Hmm.
now I'm the host. So,
Awesome.
yeah, yeah. Speaking of communities, we are noticing one thing that people are starting their own communities. While it's good for you to start, but it's like a trend going on. So, it's like, let's just start our own community. So, like, what are your thoughts? That should they actually, join some and make value for themselves, or should they just try out their own communities?
I I don't have an opinion on that right now, I guess, but yeah, it's a trend. Yeah, it's been something that has been happening more and more, and I don't know what to say about it. Essentially, it will be hypocritical, right? I have a community of mine that was never supposed to be
Exactly.
one a community, but I have a community as well. And if I'm giving an opinion, it's like, but don't you have a community? So it's weird if I judge others that way. But again, yeah, that is happening, right? Because and I guess I'm guessing one of the reasons is, oh, it's a way to build a presence. Oh, you are a influencer, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Twitter influencers. But anyways, so it's become a way to build your presence and show that you are doing something, because it's easier to I mean, it's not an easy, communities are not an easy thing, but it's like, oh, it's like a quick fame or whatever, right? So fame, but anyways,
Yeah, actually,
so
like
it's
people
become a
think that,
trend, it's not that great,
yeah,
in my opinion.
communities are a way into DevRel, and the DevRel is just traveling and having fun. So
Oh,
that mindset
okay,
is
that's another,
really,
that's a wild assumption you're making. Like there are a lot of other things in DevRel. Don't trash DevRel. That's not what this is supposed to be.
I would like,
DevRel
I'm
is,
just
yeah,
saying a general mindset of people. Actually, they don't
what you're,
understand what the work really is.
yeah, exactly. DevRel is not all rays and sunshine. Talk to experienced people in the field. Um, Someone like Aditya Oprai. Um, but yeah, marketing. It's all marketing, right? So be careful. It just looks very shiny and glossy on the surface, but what do you exactly want to do? Do you want to be a proper engineer? Do you want to go on the marketing side? Because a lot of DevRel is marketing in general. But anyways, so we have to realize, right? Oh, is it the quick fame that we want, or is it um, or and I mean, is that the future that we want? And or do we want to become an engineer, a proper software engineer, or a proper DevRel engineer? What do we want to do? Like, we have to sort of decide, and it's not just about the quick fame, right? And that's easy to say, obviously, because I had a path wherein it was natural. There was never supposed to be a community. There was never a thought of starting a community. It was just about a group where we could talk about only tech rather than have tech plus spam, and that just turned into something on random day. But so yeah, I mean, it's, I guess whoever's new, everyone might not have the same experience, cannot have the same experience, so it's a little weird for me to judge them as well that way. So again, it's
Actually,
a
what
it's a
you
it's it's,
said
a, it's
now,
hypocritical to give
yeah,
an opinion that way, I guess. So yeah,
yeah, your
but it's definitely a
explanation,
trend that's happening.
I just want to clip the short part and just go and tell everyone who is admiring Deborah. So like, just take a gist of the reality that exists out
Yeah,
there.
so again, Devrel is not bad. That is not the conclusion. Okay,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is
conclusion,
about
but
understand what Devrel is, like
yeah,
understand
yeah.
what it is. It's more about understanding. It's not Devrel equal bad. So yeah,
It's like Devil is not all shining and Devil is not all bad. Understand
just
what
like
you're
any other
getting into.
profession, just like any other
Yeah,
profession.
you got it, got it.
But Jayesh, who are we
Um,
to decide who decides where it's good or no, right? Anyone who wants to do it can decide about that. So that's why us judging them is maybe
Yeah,
not the
it's
right thing.
voluntary action.
Yeah,
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
help what's
Like
happening.
what I think I can say for all of us that we are here to provide value rather than just to do something. Like just anything that
Again,
adds
that's
value to
that's
someone
putting
is
that's putting one on a pedestal, right? That's putting yourself on a pedestal. Oh, you are providing value. Oh, you're important now. Like that thing. Just it's not about you providing value. You're not standing on a pedestal and saying, "Oh, I am providing value over here." It's
like
not about that.
not me, but
So no,
community
not
in
you.
general.
I'm not
Yeah, yeah, got
specifying
it.
you. I'm just saying that we should not put ourselves. We are no different. We have the same problems that anyone else is having, and that's why it's important that we tell others about that, right? That, oh, just because like we are organizer or whatever doesn't put us above, right? We are having the same problems as you are. Just because some more people know someone more does not mean they are something very high or something, right? It's they are the same, and that's something I think I have been, and we all should express more in whatever we do, right? So we are just trying to be better and trying to be more genuine and pure is what I would try to say. Trying to not put oneself on a pedestal.
Agreed, agreed. Surely. So
Just how
like
how I look at things.
yeah, but you have handled OTC quite well. So like what would be your thoughts for someone who's starting a
There was no
community?
handling. It was all natural. So we were. So it's. So yeah. What is the question? Sorry for interrupting constantly.
Yeah, it's like if someone is starting a new community, like what would your in general advice for them would be?
Be there to learn. Try to help wherever you can, if you can, and just talk to people, and for the fun of it, just be curious about what they are doing and why they are doing it, and bunch of other questions, just to be better. Ask how you can be better at something, how ask what they are up to, and if they say what they're up to, dig deep into that, understand why they're passionate about something, understand how you can get into it maybe, and stuff like that. So just learn and talk, and all the networking and all the presence and all the branding and all that personal brand and all that will develop itself. Forget about all that stuff, just do go for these two things.
Yeah, yeah, that's nice one.
That's what I would say,
So
and
Yeah,
that's what I have
rightly
been
said.
following. So yeah, it's not something that I'm like, oh, you do this but I'm not doing that. It's something that I have been doing for years. So yeah.
yeah, I have like a sort of use case that at the initial stages there is a hype. So if you see the group chat, it's all active, but over the time things go stale, and then the chats get archived and lost somewhere. Like the community goes down. So like, what are your thoughts? Like how that can be avoided, and like, anything in general you want to say
I
about
have
those?
I have no thoughts on that. Why? Because I mean, I have like what I think about. Like I said, I have no thoughts, and then I'm saying what I think about it. But anyways, so essentially, I with OTC we've not thought about that. If someday that happens, sure, fine, natural, right? It's not something that we are looking to. Let's grow this to the moon, right? Something like that. Like no, if someday we all feel that we are too burnt out, or someday oh things are not working out, we might just decide to sunset it, right? So it's not something we're going to constantly force. Again, there were there was a period in between where it was very slow, and you're like, should we do something? Should maybe do this? We should maybe do that to get people. And then you realized, oh, but that's never how we've done things. So we can try to do small XYZ things and see if it works. But more than that, I don't think we should force it too much. That was never the intention. So we consciously realized, all of us in the team, we realized, oh, that's we should not force it too much. That's not how we make. If we think it's not working, we should stop it rather than forcing it, right? So that's how we thought of it. So I get that this is not scalable to anyone who wants to grow their community or whatever, but it's just how we look at it. We don't want to, like, this is not an everlasting thing or anything that we're um, trying to sort of have.
Also, as you like contribute to communities at a stage, you actually get opportunity through them. It might be them sponsoring you, or might be you also get opportunity to work with their team. It's doing quality contributions and expecting like I would say keeping expectation ki, okay, I will contribute, so this community will give me yeah, that
Exactly,
that is
exactly. It's not about, don't contribute because something, right?
yeah, exactly.
I mean, everyone has a different way of looking at it, and it's nothing is wrong here. It's just about perspectives, right? How one looks at things. So essentially, how I look at it is that it's not about, um, it's not about, oh, I do X, I get Y. That's why I should do X, or I want Y. The only way to do it is to do X, so I will do X, right? So it's not always about getting something back. It's like you can just do it, right? Maybe what you're getting back by as a byproduct is maybe happiness for helping someone, but essentially try to like help without um, trying to always, like, obviously it's not always possible, but most of the times try to help just because you want to. But again, that's not the same for everyone. Obviously it can't be. So nothing is wrong, obviously, how I look at it and how I would want it to be pure, rather than always being a transaction. um, so yeah, there is no compulsion to contribute. If you're contributing, try to contribute in a pure way rather than expecting recognition or anything else. Again, just try. Right? It's not always possible. Even I don't do it always, right? But majority of the times, most of the times, in fact, I would say I do it that way. But that doesn't put me, oh, look, I'm so noble. That's definitely not it, right? That's not where I'm coming from, or trying to come from. So yeah, just trying to be better, I guess.
Yeah, agreed on that. And another
Yeah.
thing I have to ask is for like community of managers and organizers. They sometimes get so much into managing and doing for the community that they lose themselves. They burn out. Their projects and their life is pending because they are doing it for the community. So, like, what would you say to those people? So,
I
like,
do not have enough experience. I am not a community person at scale or any way community manager or anything like that. Aditya Obrai would be a much better and much more mature answer to that because he has experience there, right? He's done a lot of stuff. He's been there. So asking him would be better. I have no experience, hardly any
Yeah.
experience here. Or Ali Mustafa Sheikh is also someone you can ask. Tons of experience. So yeah, not for me.
So yeah, coming
Good
to our
question
next
though.
segment, meetup. Yeah, meetup, hackathon, Twitter, and community. As you can see these words, I think there are some flashbacks going on, right? How you where you were now, where you are going to be, right? So these are actually I see meetups as the fundamentals. Like I've seen people who come to their first meetup. They say like it was an amazing experience. Like uh, the uh, environment there is like there is no compulsion you have to do this, you have to go to talk to these people, you just meet people, right? And then you get to know things about that and stuff. And coming to hackathons, obviously whenever it's first hackathon, it's always a special one. Like you go there, especially in person. Once you go there, you work with a team, you have to brainstorm, and then there is everything is planned, but then you actually fail, you could not execute something, and then you go like maybe next time we will do. I think it's about those failures in hackathons that actually motivate you, okay, to win or to do better. Actually for me, it was not always winning, it was completing the project, or maybe learning new things, right? Sometimes it for me like I have learned that stuff just during the hackathon. So it's not like hackathon only you go to build, you also learn stuff. So yeah, and Twitter is of course, I've been on Twitter. It's an amazing platform, I would say, and like to get opportunities to connect to people. Like I've been messaging community people, so they are responding back. Actually, you can also get opportunity through that. Especially, I have contacted Harsh through Twitter only. So yeah, that's one thing, you can get connected with community people over there. So yeah, Harsh, I would also like to take
Yeah,
your view on that.
certain things are so Twitter is a weird place. Why? Because if you like a lot of tech Twitter, I'm talking about tech Twitter. I forget about the politics and all
Yeah,
that. So tech Twitter is a weird place. Um, Loads of people posting random threads just for the heck of it to increase their followers and be the influencer that they are. I mean, good for them. Just something that I don't agree with. Um, uh, it's their way of looking at it. It's not wrong. It's just something that I don't agree with. They'll put a relatable tweet to get more engagement, followers, right? That's their thing. But the value of Twitter, uh, the that's a good one, Darshan. But yeah, the value that I've got from Twitter is has been through following technical people, right? That has been, I mean, different people get value from different places. Not that, oh, if you're taking value from something else, you are bad. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's just something that I would encourage people to go to, is just because I have found more value, lots of value there. Um, so follow the technical people, like lot of like Google Chrome has like I'm into the web, so obviously my examples are aligned to that. So Google Chrome has people like Jake Archibald and Vercela's Malt. Then there is bunch of other people who are putting out having amazing discussion. Then obviously there's Dan Abramov from the React team. So all these people put out amazing discussions, amazing articles, and new releases to things. And they share blog posts which link to other great in detailed blog posts. And when you go through these articles and you start going through them, there is so much to learn. It's such a fun place. It's a fun thing to have. So just about a month ago or so, I was just scrolling through my I have notifications on for these people whose articles and stuff I really like. So just scrolling through all the notifications, some spam, some personal stuff. This that all that is fine. Some random articles you find sometimes took me on a 4 hour reading journey, and it was such a fun time just finding articles that link to deeper and more in-depth articles, trying to understand things, trying to sort of understand what they're talking about. It was so much fun. You get to learn so much that way. So there are so many technical conversations and things happening. People ask a question to these people and they respond, and then someone else who's also very knowledgeable responds, and then that spawns a conversation, and you get to realize, oh damn, didn't even think of that, or oh damn, that exists. Oh, I didn't even know this was a thing. And then, oh, this concept is really interesting, let's dig deeper into it. Right, these kinds of things are so exciting when it comes to Twitter, as the tech Twitter, the value, not, I guess, the people who put out good articles and good thoughts and ask questions and stuff, that kind of a tech Twitter, not the
can you repeat their
10.
names?
Like
So I can
before that,
share.
yeah. So just that, not for, so it's one second, but let me just complete that point. So finding value through those kinds of people who share their thoughts and their questions and there are some articles, some good things that I found, rather than like I have found value there rather than the one, oh, top 10 websites for this, or top 10 this, or if you uh, the next a thread that is again a marketing thread, and at the end they'll provide somebody at the end, if you like this, please follow me. If you like this, you can subscribe to my course here. And like, oh god, it destroyed the entire thread. But yeah, so I mean, it's maybe they want value for what they gave, so it's understandable that way. Just it's just how I look at it, right? It's not wrong, and that's not what I'm saying. It's just how I look at it. So yeah, just if you're doing it,
Yeah,
go
yeah.
for it. Your choice, just my view. So
Agreed, agreed. Also, what people generally do is, even I'm guilty of that, follow will start following a lot of stuff, a lot of newsletters, a lot of threads, and like everything is piled up, and in the end, nothing goes. It just
exactly.
all just gets
Everything
spammed
is just
in one
saved up
place.
and just
Yeah.
it's in the storage.
So it's like follow limited
I think,
number, but
yeah, and I
make
think you
sure
should
that you're getting
stop
value of it.
bookmarking tweets at this point. I think
Yeah,
that's very important, because if it
exactly.
goes in the bookmark, you're never going to read it. That's one thing
Yeah,
that I've never done bookmarking. That's why it's like, oh, if you don't
One
read it,
more
same
it's
feature,
gone.
yeah, one more feature
same
of
with
Twitter
YouTube
I
Watch
really
later.
like is, yeah, Twitter Spaces. It's been dynamic, like, yeah, okay.
So many spaces just for the heck of it. So many spaces just for the
No,
heck of
yeah,
talking about
but
the
there are
same
good
topic
ones.
again and
Yeah,
again and same thing again and again. Why? Because it works. Why? Because you gain followers. Loads of majority of spaces are for that, at least, till date, what I have seen, what I have experienced again. So yeah, like very few of them are like, oh, let's talk about, you know stuff that's not been talked about, or stuff that is providing is like technical and providing value, or that kind of stuff. Otherwise, just the same repetition again and again and again and again. So yeah, just my view on it is, it's not the most refined view, definitely.
yeah, exactly. Uh,
So, and
so
if
I
you have a
think
different opinion, go for it too.
Yeah, like
I have
everyone has
seen Twitter
their
Spaces.
learning journey.
Like, yeah. So like not everything will add up to your value, or things you like, not everything is like going to benefit you. But there might be some spaces where like people who have done it are actually sharing it, not just for the sake of sharing, but might be helping their peers, especially. So yeah,
Sure.
those can be amazing. Yeah.
Yes, agree. But yeah, it had,
And
starting in
yeah.
this, at least in the start, become a tool to gain followers. A lot of things, but yeah, there have been good spaces that I am definitely not aware of. So yeah, that's why I said not the most refined opinion. That's fine.
Yeah, but
Learning
as
more.
as long as it works and adds something value to your time and effort, it's fine.
Yeah, essentially,
Like you say, it is just for the heck of doing it, don't do it.
that's
Like
what you and me think. So yeah.
yeah, but like just because a class group is going for a meetup, I'll also tag along. Same thing, like I'll join a space and just sit there for an hour. But like, are you absorbing anything? That's the
Yeah.
question to ask yourself. Like, is
It's
it
like
any
passively
And again,
hearing, and then
again,
you're
again,
just,
it's easy for all of us to say that, but we still do it, right?
yeah,
Right? We still do it. So it's
we are
like,
all guilty of that.
exactly. So it's like, why are we giving out knowledge this way, right? So that's why, again, this session was also, I was thinking even before this, that am I in a position to give out thoughts, right? Like, oh, these are my principles, this, that, because they are so flawed. In Because they are like, it's just speaking from my experience, right? So it's just like, oh, I'm doing this session, but it's going to be like, I'm going to be hypocritical a bit, and I'm going to put out my thoughts, but then my thoughts aren't the most refined ones. Ugh. So yeah, it has been a what do you call it? Something that has played on my mind. So yeah, like, it's easy
yeah,
to
but
sit here and in our chairs and be like, oh, you should not do this. Like, it's
Yeah,
easy to say that,
exactly. That's just
but we all are guilty of doing some or the other stuff like that.
yeah,
So
but like
it's hypocritical, right?
sharing your experiences, people might just gain something from
Yeah.
your
So
experiences.
essentially, that's how I have been trying to put it. That, hey, it's my experience. It's not something
Yeah,
that's a fact or something that's very refined. It's just what I think about something.
yeah,
So yeah,
something if you can relate to and if you can work it out for yourself, then that's all good.
yeah. It's all about perspectives, and it's all a trade-off. So yeah,
yeah. I think
Yeah,
we
like
have had an
yeah,
amazing event here, like sharing our opinions. Like again, our opinions, not the very refined one. It was fun, like talking with you, especially. There were some points I actually learned, and I might implement it. And I think it was great for the audience also. They were constantly with us. So if you have anything else, if you want to add from your side, which we have not covered yet, or you might want to speak about that, the stage is all open, I guess.
Yeah, feel free to ask anything if you wish, and we can give our expert opinions, right? Expert opinions. God,
Yeah.
no,
Not
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 expert
expert
opinions.
opinions. Share our opinions.
Not expert opinions at all. Um, but yeah.
And if anyone has any type of question you want to ask about communities or how to contribute,
Tech
joining,
in general.
anything related
Mhm.
to it, yeah,
Yeah,
then you can ask. Okay.
feel free
So we
to.
have one question.
Look at this guy trolling. You don't get them. No, swag equal bad. I mean, not always, but
It's like there is one motto. You don't run after the swags, you would get swags eventually. But
yeah, swag
it's like
is
that.
most unimportant thing. But anyways, um,
Yeah, but for
yeah.
beginners, swags is a motivating factor. So not always bad.
Yes, but then it can get really bad, and it has. So everything is like, even yesterday I was at an event, and they're like, oh, go. So first announcement for the event was, oh, we have this particular workshop going on. If you want to attend, please attend. After 5-10 minutes, I guess they didn't get enough people. Oh, we have this workshop going on. This that, and they'll be handing out free T-shirts and free swag. So if you want them, please attend. And I was like, why is the swag the motivation for everything, right? So yeah, it's a double-edged sword, I guess.
Yeah, double edge actually.
And one more motivating factor is like, oh, you might want to attend this workshop. They're offering internships, and it's a good chance to meet their CEO and stuff like that. Yeah, sure, but fine, okay. I mean, that might be valid slightly, I guess, but again, it's an external motivating factor, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes you need that, sometimes you
networking.
don't. It's
Yeah,
like something you have
networking is a
to
valuable.
form an opinion on. So yeah, I mean, it's just an. Anyways, it's something that I don't know where I stand on. I'm mostly against them most of the times, but I understand why they're required as well. So it's just a gray area. I'm a lot. I'm quite against them, but yeah. Um. Yes, and exactly. And another thing that I have been seeing is most talks are like, a lot of talks are, and even I'm guilty of that. Not that a lot of talks are on basics of this, basics of that, basics of this. Where is the advanced talks? Where are the advanced talks? Like, why are we not taking people slightly on more advanced things, right? Why are we not talking about that more? It's something that even I'm guilty of. It's not that I'm just even I have done a lot of basic sessions. Um, I wish I had done lesser of them and focused more on the. So that's what I've realized, and now I'm trying to focus more on the more technical side of things and more advanced side of things, rather than always going on to the basics. Always teaching basics. You watch a YouTube video for that. Um, but yeah, just trying to be better, I guess. I mean, even what I'm presenting right now as advanced can be is already available on YouTube, as many people have done that. So again, it's hypocritical what I'm
Yeah,
saying as
everyone
well.
has
So
their own version of it.
yeah,
Yeah,
so mm, let's see. Just trying to, I guess, I guess there should be more advanced talks. That's what I'm trying to um, put out. Like, I see most talks being basic ones, and that's because there are lots of students. But then there's a responsibility to get students at a higher level as well, right? I mean, take them to a higher level. So I guess maybe something can be
it
figured out.
depends
So
on the audience that is there actually.
yeah, but then you always end up giving basic things. So how do things move on, right? How do things progress? It can't always stay there,
Yeah,
right? Most talks are, oh,
yeah.
basis of the basis of that. So yeah,
Actually,
getting
not.
started with React, getting started with Flutter, getting started with this technology, getting started with that technology, and it's usually some trendy technology that's going on, and no one will talk about the fundamentals or getting good with the fundamentals. So yeah, it's always that buzzword trend, right? Getting started with React,
Yeah, yeah.
don't know HTML, CSS, JS properly, and you're starting with React. Hell yeah. Oh, come on. So, I mean, you can, but it's going to be so much more difficult, and you're not going to understand how it, because React has its own way of doing stuff, JavaScript has its own way of doing stuff. There are lots of things that when you're doing React, you need to know about JavaScript. I mean, I'm taking a web specific example, but I'm sure this is analogy applicable in any field of tech. So yeah,
Yeah,
true.
yeah, I
That's
agree
true,
with
Darshan. It's
Darshan's
easier to get
point here.
that, but then how till when do we stay there, right? But till when do we keep doing that? There has to be something that goes up. Just if they want to do that, send them a YouTube video. Hey, this is a good video for that, and then we can talk about something higher, not higher, something that is, I guess, more in depth, not higher.
Yeah, like not too easy, not too difficult. Something
Yeah,
intermediate is
yeah. I
fine, I
mean, too difficult even I don't understand. So just trying to be more in depth than just the basics. So something like that.
think. Yeah,
Just trying to figure it out.
got it,
Even I'm
got it.
trying to figure that part out. But I'm trying to now deliver more technical than before, at least talks than before. So yeah,
Yeah, any more questions? We are open to those.
Yeah. This one actually I also wanted to ask. Like many people, like, is it is good for resume? Like, there was one person was like in a meetup, I guess. How
Mhm.
community से मुझे job कैसे मिल सकता है? Like, how can I get job through community,
So I
etc.
have
Like,
so answering before I answer the question that's there, I'll just answer you. So it has happened to me twice, I think 3 or 4 times at this point, that you're just talking to people and like just like talking in the sense like inquiring what they do, why they do it, why this technology, why that, what is this concept, what is this principle, why they do this, etc., etc. And at the end there, and after, so I left, and then after some time they approach me and they're like, hey, we have an interview position, like we have a position open, would you want to interview with us? I'm like, uh, thank you for the offer, but I actually have other plans, but stuff like that, right? So people do approach you. It has happened 3 or 4 times. So when people, that's why I say, like, be genuine, that way people realize who's trying to be genuine, who's trying to do it for a particular reason, who's trying to talk to you for the job, and who's trying to talk to you because they're having fun, they're enjoying it, and they're really curious about what you're doing. So um, yeah,
I absolutely agree with Darshan's another point here. Can
yeah,
get connection, which might help.
yeah. And
And
again,
just
that is not, that though is not the motivating factor to make that connection. All right, that
yeah,
connection happens on its own as a byproduct of you enjoying talking to them and inquiring what they're doing. It happens as a side product. Yes,
like
Dheeraj.
I would like to answer Dheeraj's question too. Like, I think most basically people do not organize advanced session because majority of public might not turn in actually, because you see everyone talks. It's good
But
meetup,
the
etc. But
buck has to
yeah,
stop somewhere, right? Even if
yeah,
people
yes,
don't
yeah,
attend,
exactly.
it has to start somewhere, right? That trend. So even if people, so it's like it's a feedback loop. Oh, more people attend, so more basic sessions. So who'll break that loop, right? There has
Someone
to be
has to.
so maybe start including more advanced sessions. Let's start every time you have two basic sessions, have one advanced session, something like that, right? So start getting that more and more into the into the
Yeah, like
conversation.
about this recently, TFUG had done a great job. Like it had organized a session on TensorFlow serving. It was a meetup like session. So I think yeah, it was not much advanced, but it was like taking a step forward, organizing those stuff. So I think yeah, communities are public. The majority of public were not there. Like maybe lesser public, but actual public which wants to learn about that stuff.
Yeah, people.
So I think that's good. It people will turn in slowly but gradually, I guess.
Yep. Oh, also, can we go back to, yeah, Darshan? Yes, but can we go back to the resume question? Um,
Yeah,
so,
sure.
so when it comes to that, that is again, yes, if you have like OTCs on my resume, right? But again, that was never the intention to start OTC, right? So because OTC happened, that is why I could write it. So and if you do something for the resume, fine. Everyone has a way of looking at it. It's just not something that I agree with. But if you do that, good for you. Um, But yeah, try to keep it as natural. And if something happens, then you can add it to the resume. That is how I approach things. That, oh, if this, oh, this happened, okay, now I can add it. And then like, oh, I should do this because it can add here. So something like that. I mean, I have done it a few times and I have really regretted it later. I felt really bad about doing that. So that's just how I look at it. Again, not perfect here, but I felt really bad whenever I've done it a few times. Um,
Yeah, and also another with people do thing is like they'll start their own community just to add it on their resume because it might shine to some
yeah.
recruiter or someone who's taking a look.
How you look at it, right? Perspectives again.
Yeah, perspectives.
So yeah, experience, definitely experience, like resume you can add it, fine, but experience is something that if you genuinely do it, you get to learn a lot. So experience is something you definitely get. But yeah,
And also people who recruit and like once the conversation sets in, the other person can literally see through that does this person actually have an experience? Like,
exactly.
do they know what they are saying or just done something to add on
Yeah,
the resume? So a resume is just will open one door, but when you sit actually in a conversation, the truth will eventually come out.
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, of
Awesome.
course. So, Harsh, can you drop a link for the OTC community so that people can also look up there? Yeah.
Yeah, our tech.community. I'll just put in the chat here. So yeah, that's our tech.community.
Check
That's
them
the
out.
link of our community, which if you like joining, feel free to. There's no compulsion. You can just attend our events as well if you wish to. So yeah,
Yeah. So I think we do not have more questions. So yeah, it was a wonderful session. I think yeah, we are good to end it.
yep.
Thank
Thank you
you,
so much
Harsh.
for having me.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Wilfred, for turning up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. Just again, last thing, no one is perfect. Everyone is struggling. These are just my opinions. Nothing very, not facts. So I might have said things wrong. Maybe a future session, I'll say, oh, whatever I said, something was wrong. I have realized more. So yeah, take it as you
Yeah.
feel and decide for yourself. And yeah,
Yeah.
definitely not the best opinions here, but trying to be better. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Harsh, very much. Yeah, for
no problem.
joining
Feel free to reach out
early morning.
anytime.
I guess it's early morning in the US, so
It is, yes, it is. It is
yeah,
10 o'clock right now, but it started 8:30. So
yeah,
yeah,
started it. So,
oof. But yeah, no
thank you
problem. I
for
get up
joining
usually
us.
get up early, so it's fine.
Yeah,
No
so
worries.
yeah, we really appreciate you joining here, and yeah, I guess we'll be in touch.
It was
Thank you.
really wholesome talking with you, Harsh, and
Yeah, no
hopefully we
problem.
can do future session where
Sure,
might be demonstrating or some live hands-on. Maybe let's see.
sure,
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, let's try to
So
break the loop and have an advanced session for ourselves.
Sure, we
Yeah,
can have one on course.
yeah, sure.
Yep,
yeah.
Really.
So one photo we have to take. Yeah, that's the
sure.
mandatory
Yeah,
tradition.
sure, sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep,
So
Okay.
I think yeah, it's good to end. Bye, guys.
awesome.
You are
Bye, bye,
the
bye.
people who actually are important part of community.